Hey guys, I'm back again. It's been a while since we made a video, so I wanted to make a video about this 128D. This is the European model. I had already modded it or changed the power supply in it to North American. So anyway, I had this running my bulletin board system, and while I was on vacation, of course, this year, Lightning came in through my DSL line and took out a lot of my equipment. It took out my DSL modem, took out my Ethernet adapter in my PC that was running BBS server, and it ran through the serial port into my Turbo 232, which this is not working either. It's gonna have to go in here and test everything to see if we can't fix it. But then it ran into my 128D, and it took out quite a few things, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I didn't video it when we were repairing it because I did it at the last user group meeting, and it took us quite a while. We sat here and troubleshoot, and we're working on it for several hours. But I can simulate what was going on, and we'll go through it real quick to show you what I did to fix it and then what I've done to it now. So when you powered on the 128, it would come up after we took the Turbo 232 out. If this is plugged in, it won't do anything. It just a black screen. So this is what we were getting. We were getting a basically the normal screen, but we weren't ever getting a cursor. The ready prompt. So Dan and Mike, they started going through the schematics, and they were like, it doesn't look like it's getting the reset for the IEC line, and it's never kicking up ready to go. Now I believe because the 128 mode is looking to load something when it first boots up. So, but if you try to boot into 64 mode, you do get the ready prompt. Okay, now the problem was whenever we tried to access the drive, it would lock the whole system up. And again, I'm simulating this again, but I can get it to do the same thing. So if I try to use Jiffy DOS to access the directory, this is what it would do: just lock up, just boom, nothing. Okay, and you could run, stop, and restore and get back, but you never could access the drive. Okay, so what we did is we opened it up, and we changed out the CIA chip, and it was bad. And when I'm talking about CIA in U1, so when we changed that, we were able to get the ready prompt with the cursor, and but if we tried to access the drive, it would just lock up. And anyway, we went with that. We ended up changing out the second CIA also, and then we went up and changed out pretty much all the chips that were on the reset line. I believe we changed U30, U63 next, and we were still getting the same problem. So then we found another one, U57, and this is me. They're following the schematics, and they're like, well, U57 is part of it too, and so I'm snatching it out and replacing it. And then I'm like, hey, Dan's like, hey man, let me get in there, and well, I don't know if he said let me get in there, but I said, hey Dan, get in here and do something better than what I'm doing, because I'm all gung-ho snatching chips out. So he ends up following the schematics around and traces it down to, let me look at these numbers again, 60 and 16. And so what he does is those two chips are shorted to ground, so he clips the leg on them to take them out of basically just bypass them. And we're fired up, and we're able to get ready prompt, and we're able to access our drive. Now those two chips also will control parts of the user port, so you couldn't use the user port correctly. But anyway, so I replaced the chips, and we're finally at a point where, you know, it will boot up and I can access the drive, and everything's perfect. Okay, so what I wanted to do while I had it out is I was going to add in a Pi drive internally, so I could emulate 1581 is mainly what I'm wanting to do. So we're gonna stop the video, we'll come right back, and we'll have this open and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so we got it open here so you can see what I've done. All I did was change out the board for the 1571. I took it out. I haven't done anything that can't be undone because I didn't want to destroy anything. So I've made me a little makeshift connector here to the internal IEC line that would normally hook up to this 1571. I've also got a little USB power cable that I've hooked up to the floppy drive power cable so we can power it. And I've got a little adapter here so I could relocate the SD card up front here, and I'll show you where I got it, and you can't even see it, honestly. I've got it pretty much right beside the floppy drive lever here. I don't even know if you can see it in there, but the card, that way I could access the card and load it up as I want to. So it just goes right in here like this, and you lock it in and you can't even tell it's there. So and this is just glued onto the front of the 1571 with some hot glue, so I could just peel it right off if I ever want to reverse this. So okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to plug back in the SD card extender here, and I've even got a little pin header set up here for the power or the activity indicator for the drive, so we'll be able to see the little activity light doing its thing. Okay, and then we'll plug in our IEC cable here, and for right now I'm just going to let it sit right on top of your heat disperser cover here for the vape chips, which it should be fine because I'm not ever going to move this. Get this over here so I can secure it a little better. There we go. This is a little tight. That's the thing, but that'll work fine for right now. Maybe I just broke it off. I did. Crap. Let me go over here and fix that real quick. I was pulling on it. Okay, so I fixed my mess up. I fixed the pin header where I pulled it off. I reinforced it with some glue this time. I got everything hooked up. We're going to power it up and see if we get power to it. Yeah, we got power and ready prompt. Okay, so now we're going to load up the directory just to make sure that it's working. Yep, and there we go. Now we have a Pi drive inside the 128. Got all my files on here. So, okay, I'm going to close this all back up. We'll set it back up and we'll go through what I wanted to do and why I'm putting the Pi drive in here. Okay, we got it all closed back up. Boot it up, and we'll load the file browser so we can look through these files here. Okay, so I've got a bunch of stuff on this. This is my main SD card setup where I have all kind of tools that I use and everything. So what I want to do first is we're going to load up a blank D81, and we should see the activity light come on if I got it. It might not be it might not be working because of where I broke off the pin header. Obviously it's not, so that's something I got to go back in there and fix. Okay, so but anyway, we got our D81 loaded. We quit, and so now we can check our D81, and here it is. So now I've got my 128D essentially with a 1581 inside of it. Now, why do I want to do that? Well, this is not a gaming computer. I use this one to write little programs on, things like that. This is my main little work computer, if you want to call it that. And I was running my bulletin board off of this, so it's a work computer, not a play computer. So with the Pi drive inside, of course, I'm not going to be able to do multi-disc games and such. But like I said, I'm not going to use this for gaming. I've got a Ultimate 64 on the other side. If I want to play games and stuff, that's what I'll use it for. If I do decide later on I want multi-disc whatever programs, then I'll just run a little button out the side here somewhere and have it externally so I can just flip through them. But anyway, so this is what I was wanting to do. So now I can write my programs. Oh, man, you can tell I'm a good programmer. There we go. Okay, so now I want to save that to my D81. Make sure it's saved, and there we go. I've saved my programming and stuff to a 1581. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Everything's working like I want it to now, except for the activity light, which I'm going to go in there and fix that just a few minutes. But that's just a little trivial deal. So that's what went on with this 128D. When I came in, I was devastated when everything was messed up. It took out my Turbo 232. I also took out my CMD hard drive. Dan's working on it right now. He's replacing a lot of the chips on that also. He said they were all shorted out. Not all the chips, but there was a good many of them shorted out to ground. So he's replacing those, working on that for me. So hopefully Dan will get that taken care of, and we'll get it back and get the bulletin board back going. Even running a bulletin board, this setup will help, because if I want to transfer stuff over to my bulletin board, now I can do it with the SD card. Just pop it out, take it over to the computer, and load whatever I want to. Because I have Harold. He writes some nice graphics for my bulletin board and stuff, and now I can put it on the SD card, add it into my bulletin board with little trouble at all. So this is going to be a nice setup regardless of what I end up doing with it. But everything I did to the inside, as far as the SD cards and everything, add the Pi drive, add the SD card extender, it's all reversible. I didn't cut anything. I didn't have to do anything like that. I did remove the controller board for the 1571, but it's sitting right over there. All I got to do is pop it back in. The original wires are all there and everything. So that's the summarized story of what happened with this 128D and what I did to fix it.